Robots Radio presents...
Nerds, geeks, and dweebs alike love their particular fandoms and often challenge those around them to resist the temptation to become fans themselves. Welcome to Resist This, a podcast put on by Focus Fire Chat where we challenge each other to consume various books, TV shows, games, and other forms of content, and then come back and discuss the ups, downs, insides, and outs. This episode, I challenged Green to experience the anime series Wolf's Rain. And yes, I made her watch the whole series, which it's not actually not that long. Well, I guess
no, it's not.
It's only like, what is it, 22 episodes? Well, did you watch?
Yeah.
Did you watch the OVAs too, or
no,
just the
no.
okay, just the TV? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are very first reaction, just off the top of your head? What did you think about it?
It's been a while since I've watched any sort of anime. And the animes that I've watched in the past have been Dragon Ball Z or Sailor Moon. So watching an anime that has a bit more of a magical flair to it rather than those two was a little jarring.
Yeah, and I will say that Wolf's Rain compared to like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, like not that they don't have like metaphors and stuff in them, but like Wolf's Rain is very, very much a niche indie, not indie, but it's like very artistically done anime. Like there's a lot of layers that watching it, if you just watch it like once through really quickly, I'm not going to say you won't pick up on it, but there's a lot that like you probably should watch it multiple times to like fully get like the whole story. I will also say I'm sad that they didn't make like the OVAs part of the series, because the OVAs actually conclude the entire thing. Because I'm trying to remember where the TV show actually ended, because I remember the whole arc. I'm trying to remember. Did they end? They end with the defeat of Jagura, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, there's like
the overlord type character. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Darcia is evil at the end?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there's a huge twist that goes on in the OVA that basically it's very artistically done, but it's like the OVAs really, I think there were like two or three, I can't remember, but they're very long. They're like an hour and a half each. They're like basically small movies. And they start up immediately following the defeat of Jagura. And then it's basically the wolves and what's her face? Is it Cheza? Their story after that.
The flower, essentially.
The flower maiden, I believe is what. Yeah, flower maiden. So I know. I know. Or I think it was when I was talking to you about it. Like I remember thinking, I'm like, this might be an interesting thing to make her watch, because it's a very unique style. Like I remember you saying like the intro piece of it, you weren't like super.
The train scene?
The music. Yeah. The music to intro.
Well, as far as the music goes, I get the usage of why they went with what they did. I felt it was slightly jarring, but I don't know if that's just the style or just the director's choice in this. Because the creator of the series was Kiko Nobumoto. Right? So, like, I don't know if this is the same for most of the series that he tends to write, but once I got past the opening scene with the train and you get Sume and his little gang of misfits, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we've got a gang of misfits that are hijacking a train. You have one that has superpowers.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, kind of.
Because that's what it looks like. Because you don't really see what happens.
Right.
And it's like,
Which is also kind of the point too.
Right.
Is that you like? I love the play of perception that they actually go through, like because, and it's not revealed. I think it's not until like the second or third episode that you actually that you start figuring out that they are not actually human. They are wolves that have like it's basically a hallucination or an image over them. Because that was the whole thing with what was the little kid that he fell, and Sume tried to catch him, and he like the mirage flickered, and the kid freaked out because Sume's a wolf, and he tries to catch him, but he doesn't have like hands. He actually has just his teeth. And the kid thought he was attacking him and it fell. And I think, if I remember right, the kid died, which was actually, it was really sad. Sume was like, well, this is why I don't let anyone close. Like, he's
right.
like,
and that's part of the reason why the huntsman, starts to go after him a little bit more directly.
Right.
Because you have a huntsman character who's after the wolves, but the wolves are, according to like the mythology, the wolves have been gone for years. But there's this one huntsman who, I don't know if I can't remember if his companion is a wolf or
Blue is half wolf.
Okay.
Which is actually how Hige and, don't know if it's Kiba, but I know Hige actually reaches out to Blue. And this ultimately actually really happens in the OVA. Like the OVA, Blue actually... There's a huge scene where Quint actually sort of redeems himself, and he dies. It does not end happy. Well, it ends sad, but there's hope still. Like, it's a really interesting ending. But yeah, Blue is half a wolf, which is why she is able to. That's why she's so good at tracking them. Is she has like that pseudo magical sense that the wolves have. She can actually, I think the way they kind of explained it was she can see through their mirage, so she identifies, that's not a person, that's a wolf, which is how Quint kind of locks in on them.
Well, she also can tell by scent too,
yes, yeah.
Not just the sight of them.
But I don't think she is able to cast. Like, I don't think she's able to project cover for herself. I don't remember.
I don't remember her doing that.
Yeah, she kind of she goes kind of feral in the OVAs, but even then, I don't think she actually ever gains that ability.
Okay.
But yeah.
But there's 4 primary wolves, right? Like you have Kiba, Hige, Tobu, and Sume.
Yep. And then Cheza is the flower maiden. And then
right, which early on, her whole thing is super weird.
It doesn't get better.
Floating in a test tube.
So
essentially.
So she's actually created. She wasn't born.
Right.
Like, it was this whole alchemy thing. Oh my gosh, yeah. Cheza's a trip. Like, trying to figure out what Cheza is half of the challenge of the anime. Is like what are you doing? Like, you're really important, but do you actually do anything?
Right.
And then there's Darcia and Quint, and then is it Cher and Hub? And then that's right, because Jagura, you met Jagura. Did you get introduced to Harmonia?
Let me pull up her page real quick.
So it's Jagura's younger sister.
I think we see a moment of her, but I don't remember a direct contact with her.
Okay, yeah, because
that might have been in the OVA.
Yeah, because Jagura, that was half the tension. Like, oh gosh, so you have the whole thing going on with the wolves, which is really interesting and kind of very focusing in on the end of the world dystopian thing, and then you have the humans who are. There's 3 different stories going on. There's the humans chasing the wolves. There's the wolves chasing the flower maiden. And then there's this weird political mess going on with the humans. And it all basically stems down to Jagura falls in love with Darcia, but Darcia is in love with Harmonia. And so like, and their sibling, or their Jagura and Harmonia are siblings, and Harmonia is trying not to offend her sister, but it's like this whole thing, and so Jagura goes nuts basically, and yeah, that's the
there's such a weird, as far as like the overtones and the metaphors that are built into it, there's such a huge, I mean, big target on the divide between the classes, right?
Yes,
like you have
the
nobles who are flying above everything and have control over everything. That's like Lord Darcia and Jagura and Harmona. But then you have like the normal people who don't actually have any sort of connection really to the nobles, except for that they are basically poor people who are working normal jobs
and supplying
and have no control
the nobles,
over anything.
And like, and I think isn't it? I'll be honest. Animes start blending together. Isn't the nobles are the only ones who are allowed to have the airships?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they're the only ones who are allowed to have a lot of different things, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. The regular humans are kind of, it's very, very, very heavy dystopian.
Yes. And then you have that level between nobles and humans, and then you have the dystopia between the humans and the wolves, who used to have a lot more range over things and had range of the wild, and then they got basically pushed to extinction and had to go into hiding, which is why you have quite a few wolves who have learned how to do this magic, essentially, where they can mask themselves and kind of blend in with society.
Yeah, it's kind of like this like weird forced evolution of theirs. Look, I just looked up a thing. Blue does actually gain the ability to have a human form. Nice. She gets it after after their paths cross with Cheza. Blue it awakens her wolf blood, her wolf half, and that's what actually causes her to leave Quint and hook up with the 4 pure bloods. And then that's when she and Hige get together. And yeah, so that's whole, like there's so many different things going on, and I just, between the music, like the soundtrack of the series is just amazing, and then like the art style that they have, like especially in the manga's art style is just, it's that really, really, this isn't meant to be a pun, but it's very flowery like style,
right?
Even black and white, it's just like very strongly artistic, and like the way that they portray the wolves as like these advanced creatures who actually are like beyond most humans is just this really cool concept. It's a really interesting twist on that dystopian thing, where it's like, oh wait, humans aren't really the focus of this story. Like, they're there, humans are there, but we don't really care about most of the humans. We're watching these wolves.
I really liked the art style of the anime itself. Like, that was actually, I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed the music side. The music was still really, really beautiful and interesting, with some very weird genre choices at times, but I really enjoyed the layers that you get in the art, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss a layer that's probably going to kind of hint at something to come. There was a lot of foreshadowing in a lot of episodes, and you called a lot of callbacks too.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the animes that you have to, like, you can't have this on in the background if you want to capture, like, if you don't want to be completely confused, you have to pay attention, because there is definitely a lot of stuff hidden.
Least favorite character, Tobo. Such a whiny little boy. Like,
he's the youngest. He is the youngest. Like, he is.
Like, his story was so tragic with his friend, the little girl that he makes friends with.
Yeah.
And then, like, he's crying in front of her and shifts back into wolf form, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, well, and that's also Tobo's the one with the bracelets, right?
Yep.
Hige's
with Granny.
Hige's the one with the collar.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Hige is like one of my favorite ones. Like he is like just kind of like that carefree. He's just completely okay with doing whatever.
He's Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles, but in wolf form.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tobo actually, his story was really tragic because he was also he was raised by a old lady, human, which is why he's like super friendly towards most of the humans, where the other three they were all kind of, I know, well, Kiba is the big pro, like he is often in conflict with Sume as far as like who's the alpha.
Yes.
But both of them, you can tell both of them were raised in the wild. Hige is one of those ones that's kind of like, I'm pretty sure he was raised in the wild, but like in the city because he doesn't really care. Like he definitely reminds me of the coyotes who just like, they're just like, all right, whatever. Like this is cool. But yeah,
I mean his species is a Mexican wolf. Hige's
is.
Like,
okay, that's gotcha.
Yeah. So he's the Mexican wolf. Kiba is an Arctic wolf.
Yes.
Sume is a gray wolf, and Tobo is a very, very, very slim red wolf, which often gets
really tiny.
Mistaken for he gets mistaken for a dog all the time, which is why he can blend even in dog form.
Oh gosh, yeah, I forgot the little girl. That was because that
actually was heartbreaking.
The thing that like the thing with Sume too was like he like finally and that was like, I think that was the first episode when he actually tries to save the one kid, and like, but then the sad thing is like Sume is the one that constantly gets like reinforced that he shouldn't trust humans because like. When his gang finds out that he's a wolf, they all betray him.
Yeah, they abandon him.
And then I think that's when he runs into Kiba. No. Yeah, that's when he runs into Kiba, I think, is basically because Kiba's the one that refuses to wear the disguise.
Yeah. Sume has his pack of his gang, and then he runs into Tobo and Kiba. Kiba, I think he runs into first, and then he runs into Tobo. Tobo becomes basically like a little lost pup and starts following Zume and annoys the bejesus out of him. And then Kiba shows back up.
Yeah, because Kiba was hurt, and that's how Hige got with Kiba. It's because Hige's in the middle. Because Kiba
got caught.
Hige's in the middle of the fortress just wandering around like, oh, what are you guys doing?
Uh-huh. Which the detective story too, like you have the scientist detective type character, and then her ex or like currently in the process of getting divorced husband, who is the cop. And then there's lots of weird little angsty layers in this, which I think is just par for the course for anime, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like they definitely, angst is definitely. I will defer to my wife in that, but I'm pretty sure angst is in all of like at least the popular ones. There's always a degree of angst somewhere. Like I'm thinking all the animes that I know my wife loves, they're all super angsty. Like all of them, and they're not. I mean, not all of them are bad either. Like another really good one is X. For like art style purposes, it's like it's much more X is much more harsh. Like the style is much harsher, but it's still kind of similar to Wolf's Rain. Wolf's Rain is very, very it kind of leans into that fantasy presentation, whereas X is more of like a modern version of it.
Okay,
but I think actually both of them were produced by Bones. Oh no, Bones did Full Metal Alchemist. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Bones did both Wolf Rain and Full Metal.
And Soul Eater, I think, is one of their other big ones. Oh, My Hero Academia. That's the other one. I haven't watched that one yet. I've heard good things about it, but I haven't watched it yet. But oh man, so like I guess as far as following the story, I know we were trying to talk about like you have to pay attention to like not just what's being spoken, but actually what's being shown, which is again something that's often very common, especially with actually all anime. I was gonna say especially with like the smaller.
I don't know about
animes.
That. Like Dragon Ball Z, you can miss a whole episode and not miss much.
If you pick the ones where they're just yelling, I mean, you don't really need much. I mean, that's like 9 episodes back to back of them screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Dragon Ball, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z got a little ridiculous. Dragon Ball is one of those things where you watch it again as an adult and you're like, ooh, oh my.
It's very dirty.
I'm like, how was this okay
dirty.
for kids to watch?
I convinced Julie to watch like the first few episodes of Dragon Ball, and she's like, Master Roshi is a pedophile. I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong,
and I did not totally did not pick up on that one.
I'm trying to remember, like the first episode of Dragon Ball I saw was when Goku was in the tournament, so I missed all of the opening episodes as a kid.
Yeah, when he was like really little. Oh gosh, yeah. I don't even remember. I rewatched those a while back, and I remember doing pretty much the same thing. I was like, I do not remember this undertone of this. But no, I mean, like Wolf's Rain is one. X is another one. Like a lot of the well, and I guess it's because they're so artistic. You know, there's. I mean, even Akira. I don't know if you've seen Akira. But Akira is...
I have not.
It's a very difficult anime to watch, like, because there's a lot of uncomfortable things that happen in it. But if you understand the story of what it's actually, like, tapping into, it's very, very much telling a story, not just through the verbal, but also through the artistic. Not to mention the influences that Akira has had in cinematography is just amazing. But like Wolf's Rain really is one of those things. So like compared to, I guess, other things that you've watched movie wise, like how did it how did it hold up? Was it better? Was it okay or terrible?
I would not put it under the terrible category by any stretch. I don't know if I would put it under the category of I want to watch it again.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I'm not sad about having watched it.
Okay. Okay. That's
just
fair.
Because I enjoyed the artistic style, and I think that's my big takeaway from this is that this particular type of anime is very, very much so built around the idea of it is art. Mm-hmm. Yes. It is still animation, but it is art, and it's very, very well crafted, and you can tell that they took a lot of time for the story design. They took a lot of time for the artistic choices and the music choices. Like, it's very, very deliberate in everything, which I would put it kind of on the same par as far as the care that goes into it as some of the Pixar stuff that's been coming out in the last couple of years that is really impactful. Mm-hmm. Like it's like Soul. I don't know if you've seen Soul.
I have not yet. I've been told, but I've been told by multiple people I need to watch it. So it's on my list actually of things that I need to watch.
I cried both times I've seen it. Like it's been.
Is that
one is very, very well done.
Is that Disney?
Pixar.
Oh, okay, mm-hmm. But Pixar's under Disney now, isn't it? Are they on Disney Plus? Is that where it is?
It is on Disney Plus.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember.
I know that Pixar took the lead on it as far as their story writing.
It's insane. I have like separate lists for all the streaming stuff I have that people are like, you need to watch this. I'm like, I can't keep track of all of it, so I have to put them on different lists. And I don't have my Disney Plus list right now pulled up. So
did you ever watch Inside Out?
Yeah. It's the same like artistic style.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sort of. Like it's same artistic style, same kind of depth, but it's way more impactful. Like I think Soul blew it out of the water as far as being more hit you in the gut.
That's a high bar because Inside Out was.
It is.
Inside Out was. I mean, I know like everyone was like, "Oh, it's a kids movie." I'm like, no, No, everyone needs to watch that at least once, I think. It does
Yeah.
it does such a good job with like normalizing the concept of, hey, everyone has emotions and it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's the concept of soul is what is your purpose kind of thing.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
so that's the main drive through it, and there's lots of twists and turns. Like it's got more twists and turns than a M. Night Shyamalan a ding dong kind of thing. Yeah. But as far as Wolf's Rain, I think it shows very much so that the creators really cared exactly of what they're putting into it. They wanted to tell this multi-level story, which, to be fair, if I wanted to really get into like all the metaphors, I would probably go back and watch it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think I got a pretty good gist of what they were going for with a lot of them,
Right.
especially the noble versus human versus wolf type feel that they were going for. And there's a sense of struggle that you get in it, but I don't think it's overplayed like some shows tend to go. It's a little bit more light touch on that, in so much as you see Sume's struggle, but you don't dwell just on Sume. It switches so quickly from character to character that you don't really get a time to feel alongside the characters, which I think is probably where my distaste
and that's actually
style happens.
Of a lot of the criticisms, that actually is pretty much on par with what they said is like it was well done, but it was too short to really get a connection built with the characters.
Yes.
And especially since you have not just you not only have a large group of primary characters, but you also have a pretty good supporting cast too. Mm-hmm. And all of them kind of get, I mean, like the supporting cast definitely get a little bit less time, but like all of them get roughly, I mean, they get a pretty fair share. And so it's like a lot of times, I think a lot of the criticisms, though there wasn't much, was basically there wasn't the opportunity to get connected, that as connected as you could have. And it kind of sometimes gives you the sense that the supporting characters were just basically just there so that they were there.
It may have been a deliberate choice just because of there's such there's an underlying tone of impermanence, right? Like there's nothing is permanent in the world.
Yes.
And that may have been part of the choice for it. I don't think they ever come out and talk about it directly or have it as a main feature of the story, but I could see them making it as part of the creation style specifically to help guide that.
Yeah, I would be interested if you ever have the interest to go watch the OVAs, because the OVAs definitely, like, it's so there. I was looking up. There's quote 30 episodes. There's 26 episodes of the TV show, and then 4 OVAs. And of the TV shows, 4 of them are basically recap episodes. So I don't know if they were included in the ones that you watched. Usually they aren't for the America market. But like the OVAs, like I was saying at the beginning, like the OVAs take up right at where the episodes end, and basically go to the end. Like they actually have a conclusion. There's no like cliffhanger thing, it's like it's over, that's done. But like that thing that you were just talking about, impermanence, is a huge thing that goes through the OVAs. And it is, that is the large message, is that, hey, it's a cycle. Like, and the process of a cycle means that there is an end, but that end will become a beginning, and and all that stuff. And I think it's really well done. And another thing, like the biggest thing with Wolf's Rain that I've seen, like this series came out in 2003, so it's been around for what, 18 years now. Gosh, that dates. That makes me realize that I'm old.
Yeah, 2003, 2004.
But one of the big things is just like the soundtrack, when like the soundtrack during the episodes is just I struggle to find something that does as good of a job as Wolf's Rain does with the emotion of the music matching what's actually going on. Like they have it almost perfect lockstep, I feel, with the tone and the atmosphere and what's actually happening on the screen. It's just and even the oddities of the genres that they choose, like it works. Like you can't quite put your finger on it, but it really does actually work pretty well.
It's just there are choices that they make that are so jarring from what you expect.
Yes,
that's what bugs the snot out of me. Is like I'm not expecting to get like this little. It's not like hokey, but there's a weird like rock piece in the middle of it, and I'm like,
I know what you're
that
talking
is not no. I disapprove of this. This is not how my brain works with. But I don't know. I understand the choices behind it. I don't agree with them, but I'm also one who likes Ruby, and I like the musical choices that they made for Ruby, or even for later seasons of RVB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
some of their musical choices
when they finally decided to become serious.
Yes, when they finally gave up on we're going to make this machinima and just actually animate the whole thing. But no, one of the things that it did interest me pretty early on, which is basically the main reason that I was like, okay, I'll watch this, is one of my favorite voice actors plays a character in it.
Oh, really?
Crispin Freeman, actually, the voice of Winston from Overwatch, plays Sume.
Oh.
In the English version.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because I did watch it in the English version.
I'll accept it.
I know. I
don't know why.
Noob
like,
when it comes to it.
Well, no, it's and like I don't even really. It's not like a strong thing. I prefer subtitles.
Sure.
But that's because I watch everything with subtitles. Like especially now with a kid. Like when he was little, I watched everything on my headphones and I had subtitles because we didn't want to wake him up. But like even before then, I've always preferred subtitles. So like watching anime for me was not. I just the sub version you get. It's like the emotion is different. I don't know. I've tried to watch dub, and it just is off. Like I don't know why, but it just feels like they're missing like half a beat. It seems is the best way I can explain it. So for me, it's always been just easy to watch the subtitle. I have gotten to the point now where I'm just like, oh, they don't have subtitle. Netflix does it every now and then. They're like, this is the dub version. I'm like, this isn't. No, give me the subtitles. Like, give me the original trend. Give me the original audio. We don't have it. All right, well, I'm not watching it then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever watched an anime in the original.
Okay. You should try it. It's kind of like watching an old Japanese movie with dubs, and you start understanding. It's like
Godzilla.
You start understanding why that joke makes so much sense. They have a lot more word sounds than the English does.
Yeah, like I've watched some of the old Godzilla movies in the original language, but I don't know. It's there are some really great English dub actors out there.
They have gotten a lot better. They have gotten significantly better. Oh man.
Yep.
All right. So overall though, it wasn't a horrible torture session.
No, not at all.
That's always
just the
good.
Music. No, I'm kidding. Just the part you like.
I won't tell Katie you said that.
That's fine. Nah, it wasn't torturous or anything like that. It was something I did have to kind of force myself into the first couple of episodes. But once the story actually started picking up, it was a lot easier to actually get hooked into it. It's just real rough when you're going in, and it's
especially if it's not something
getting
that
waylaid with it.
Especially if something is, it's like, especially for people who aren't really big on anime. Like, you know, it's one of those things where this is definitely one of those series that you probably should watch after you've gotten through, you know, what I've referred to as the intro animes is like Dragon Ball Z, or, you know, something like, so at least you have like a general idea of like, oh, there's a lot of over the top screaming sometimes. Like, yeah, that is a thing.
The thing that always cracks me up about certain animes is they play stereotypes so hard. Like, Sume is a stereotype. Yes. He is the tough guy. He is the tough guy who doesn't, he's the lone wolf. Like, that is him. There's no subtlety to his character. That's something that bugs the snot out of me with a lot of, not all animes do this, but like, they tend to have these very, very clear cut, this is the role they're playing. This is the character they're fitting. Not Kibo, but the Tobo?
Yeah, the youngest, the puppy.
Yeah, like he's the kid.
Yeah.
He plays a kid. That is his role. And he behaves like a child through the entire thing.
Oh my gosh.
There's some growth,
I
but
so
want to
make you watch Sayuke, because
Lord.
It's so Sayuke is the anime version of the Legend of the Monkey King. 100% what you just talked about. Like 100%. They are all like, each of them is their stereotype, and they are their stereotype. Like that's them. They do not cross channels. They are just their stereotype. But it works, but it's yeah. Oh man. All right, well, hey, I got you through an anime that wasn't torturous, so I'll chalk that up to a victory.
Woo. I don't know how to end.
Yeah, I don't think we've decided how to end this. Have you gotten one that have we gotten an idea for the next one? Because I think the next one's your turn.
My turn to torture you?
Yeah.
Well, if we want to stick with like a watching type thing, I'm going to have you watch the first season of RWBY.
Okay, I think I've watched it. The weird thing about RWBY is, okay, so on that note, the weird thing about RWBY is it clear cut on the seasons? I can't remember. It's been a while. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I can do that.
Yep, there's a RWBY season 1, RWBY season 2. RWBY season 3. I believe we're up to 4 at this point, but I'll have you like the first season of RWBY and get your take on that, because I know that I'm not the only person who enjoys FFC or is part of FFC who has been wanting you to watch that.
Oh no. No pressure.
It's not Orchid.
Yeah, no pressure.
I don't know if Orchid's watched it.
I don't know if Orchid's watched RWBY either. I know there's a couple people who really enjoy RWBY. Yeah, we can do that. All right, cool. All right, well, yeah. So that's the end. I don't know how to end this. I can end it my normal way, is just goodbye.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.